How have you
Yeah,
been?
I'm good. I'm good. Everything is fine. Both ways. We can't just say, "Oh, it's great" and everything, because to see the world like going through things and also to be part of this whole community as one, and it's up and down. But at the same time, we can't complain much being in this really like what do you call it? Very sensitive situation. But otherwise, we're good. Otherwise, I'm good. Are you there?
Yeah, yeah. Are you visible now? It's completely perfect.
Okay, but it's gonna come.
Am I visible to you? Hello?
Hi, I can't see you, but I think I can hear you. So I think in a bit of time I'll possibly great. I can
Yeah.
actually see. Super.
Hi.
Hi.
So how has been lockdown going on for you?
Very
Being
good.
at home?
Very good. I was just answering that question. I was telling because it's a sensitive period, we can't just say, oh, it's great and everything. But at the same time, it's still not that bad. We have nothing to complain much about. So yeah.
So it's like chill, lazy days for you or a lot of work?
There's actually surprisingly a lot of work because I thought it was going to be much more chill and more Netflix and all that stuff. But it's been quite a hectic period. I did not expect this to be completely like this. So yeah, but it's good, man. And also, like when there are like these couple of days where you don't have work or you don't have anything to do, then you feel like, oh, you're idle. There's nothing to do much. But when you have work, you feel like, oh, there's so much work, so much work. It's just us. I feel the time is like that. So we are right now cribbing about every single thing. So I think there's nothing much to.
Yeah, but I feel like work from home is more work rather than being on work.
I've never been so busy in life from last 20 days. Like also there's one thing, right? Like now there's no escape. Where you can just say. Okay, like we can just say, oh, I'm not well or I'm not available, I'm doing something. Now there's no escape. People are going to ask you, they won't even ask you this question, oh, are you free? Are you free to do this or anything? Now there's no point of like even asking those questions. They just straight say, oh, there's this work for you, there's this work for you. And say like, wow, the comfort I created for the outside world, it just been like little tiresome, but at the same time it's good, man. It's fun. Like the things I'm working on also, like they're very interesting and fun, so it's not much to complain about. But definitely it's a very jigsaw kind of a situation. We can't just say it's great or it's not
Yeah.
great. So yeah.
So yeah, before starting on with the questions, I would love that you introduce yourself. Though I've given a gist of what you have done already to our followers, but I would love to hear from your mouth about yourself.
Hi, my name is Aditya. I'm a DP cinematographer photographer from Bombay, India. I have done a couple of feature films, and I've done music videos like Sage, Cold Mess, Liggy, and stuff. You said Saj, and then you said Lily. I was like, okay, what are these music videos? I've never shot, but okay. So I did all this, and apart from that, I've done a couple of more things. I've just started my career. It's been like 4 years, so like I just got into cinematography. Before that, I was full-time photographer, fashion and travel I used to do. So now I just shifted to Bombay about like 4 years back. Before that, I was in Delhi and I was pursuing photography and fashion photography and stuff. But right now I'm full-time into cinematography, and sometimes I make my own stuff. So yeah, that's about me.
Nice. Yeah, but like I would love to tell our followers a little bit more of a backstory from Bombay. He is a BCom graduate from Tripura and moved to Delhi at the age
Tirupati.
of 25. Tiru-
I'm
Tirupati.
gonna keep correcting. Yeah, I'm from Tirupati. Yeah, okay, it's fine.
So, yeah, Tirupati, Andhra Pradesh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he moved to Delhi at the age of 25, where you got introduced to the camera for the first time and started photography while assisting one of your friends.
Yeah, one of
Then
the top. Yeah.
4 years back, you moved to Bombay and you started with your cinematography journey there. Am I correct?
Correct. You're right. You're absolutely right. And I met like these unbelievable people at Jugaad Motion Pictures. My first gig ever in Bombay was meeting Dheer and Dar. So yeah, I'm very thankful to the universe that I got to meet like right people straight up, because people don't get to like get to do these things. But also it was, I believe a lot in karma. So I think all the hard work I'd done before, it actually worked when I came in. So yeah, more
Yeah,
than just that.
it's good to see from where you started, like such an unconventional path you chose after being a BCom, and I guess you did a postgraduate also in some
Yes, I did
finance.
a diploma in finance. Yes.
Yeah. So like my question starts from there. So I have a few questions from my end and a few questions with the followers I've asked her. So I'll ask all of them one by one, and we'll also take a few questions which pop up in the comment section with time. Is it cool?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll start from the initial days itself and then move forward. So as we know, you hail from a very small town in Tirupati. So how was your childhood days? Like, what was your college life?
See, one thing, I was always, wherever I was in the world, was like I was the most naughtiest guy in the class. I was the most notorious person in the class, and I used to be this guy who used to like bully, not bully as such, but like I was a very fun guy. But it all was till I was in school days, and suddenly there was this switch when I got into like till I was in school, my dad did not even think that I'll become something. He always had this father fears where he always thought, I know about the elder son, he'll do something about his life, but this guy's gone. He's a gone case, he wouldn't do anything. And then once in a while, he used to get surprised, like suddenly my principal would call him and say, Aditya is doing great, he's doing well in education and stuff. And then he'll come to parents teachers meeting, and then people are like boasting about me or talking about me. He's like, he didn't understand this contrast of, oh, this guy's like the most messed up human being, and at the same time he's doing well in studies, and he's doing all this. And I still remember uh, when I was in college, like my principal called my father and told him like, we are so proud as an institution to have, like, I was a college topper then. So he called and he called my father. My father was like, oh, so like there are too many colors in this guy. We don't even know what this guy actually is. So yeah, I've always been this guy who's like over the top. I was over enthusiastic about life. Like I always used to live in the moment, and at the same time quite naughty. Yeah, man, it's a
Honestly,
good.
I can relate with you. Like, I am sort of a similar person. So, I've been a school topper, but I was a sports person, so never attended school. So, my teacher
Oh,
used to call up my parents and, like, dude, like, your daughter needs to study. It's 12th boards. So, I gave my 12th boards with a broken shoulder. My principals and, like, teachers are like, dude, she's gonna fail and she can't do
oh,
anything in life.
that's
Then I went to good school, but I went to one of the best colleges in Delhi, India itself. But I opted studying finance. I started photography. My professors thought like I'm some crazy person who wants to build up finance
oh.
but do
So I
photography
think
also.
I was also too much into sports. There was a time in my life when I was in school that I thought I'll go on and become a cricketer or something. But yeah, things turned around. Yeah.
So it's nice. So like as we know, like Indian think is only the so you ended up in a very unconventional path.
Ma,
So
Ma,
how was
one second, Ma, can you actually repeat the question, please? I actually lost it in between.
so like you ended up in a very unconventional career path. So how was your reaction from your parents when you shifted at the age of 25?
So yeah, like I've always like day in day out, I always gave bouncers to my father and my parents constantly, and even my brother, because he started taking responsibility for the family. So I was being a younger kid. I had this cushion of being and doing stuff by myself. But my brother took the responsibility to like be there for the family and do things, get into a job. He became a software engineer. He got into a job for Accenture and all that. So I had this question of, like spending and doing stuff and then focusing on what I'm doing. But constantly, I first did, like in 12th, I first did science, and then I stopped for a bit, and then I came to accounts, and then from there I did, like I came to Delhi, was doing masters. While doing it, I got into modeling, and then during that I stopped modeling, and then I did fashion photography. I was getting into fashion photography, assisting someone. And then I went back home and I started doing karate and stuff. And then I said, I'm going to do cinematography. So my dad kept getting these bouncers over bouncers where he thought this guy is not going to become anything in life. And it was quite a ride for them, especially, to be parents and see, like at the age of 28, 29, like, your kid is back home and just like, doing karate and stuff like every day. So he was like, "Oh, this is gone. This chapter is over." But then after that, I came to Bombay and I did what I did. Yeah.
Okay, so we know like you shifted to photography while assisting your friend, but nowadays like there are a lot of film and photography institutes, and people have a lot of exposure to a lot more things, like even for free. So what are your views like to the younger generation or younger self to you also?
So see, honestly, again, I can't actually give a like concrete path or say, oh, because this path worked for me. I can't tell or give younger generation this message saying, oh, you guys don't have to go to a film school or you don't have to follow a certain path. But I would say, even if you go to a film school, try and be open about how much you want to experiment, how much you want to break the rules, how much you want to apply your own, like whatever your own texture or your own layer to it. Because I personally feel no matter how much you learn from a film school, how much you learn in a conventional way of learning filmmaking, you still have your own touch that applies into, especially when it comes to art. Like no matter what or how much you learn about drawing, there is something that's coming from inside you. That is how many books you've read, like what all books you've read, what all films you've watched, what all you've seen growing up, what all you understood growing up. So all that is your layer. So no matter how much technical knowledge, all the knowledge you gain from, try and be open and try and understand that yourself, like what your aesthetical value or your aesthetical sense that should be applied to whatever you do. And if you're already stuck in doing masters, but you still want to get into cinematography, if you're stuck in doing a particular way, like going into a particular way, but you still want to do or like pursue photography or cinematography, I would say you still can do it, because you got so much resources online now. When I was starting up, I did not have much in the sense that my internet back in Tirupati, we did not have good speeds, or we had to wait like one whole day to watch a YouTube video and stuff. So for us, it was much more difficult. Now we have unlimited access to so much that we can learn only from YouTube, Skillshare. There are like millions of blog posts. You can learn from anyone, everyone. Even on Instagram, you can just like follow your favorite photographers and get access to that. I think it has opened up completely, and anyone, man, like literally anyone can become what they want to do. So literally, I don't want it to be a fashion or like it's a fad, to get into cinematography, photography, all that. But once you get into working of it, or once you get to the professional side of it, you'll understand there's much more work than you thought. So,
Yeah. So my next question was something you already answered. Like I wanted to know, you believe in rules or breaking the rules?
I kind of answered it. And to be honest, I never learned cinematography or photography myself, right? Like I did not ever, I did not ever learn it professionally or went to a film school or learned it. Whatever I learned, it's self-taught or learned from others. So I kind of cannot say, oh, I know all the rules or I know everything what I need to know as a particular cinematographer. But I have created my own ways of doing things, and from there I kind of like apply it in each job. But at the same time, I'm very open to learning new things, because every single project for me is new and challenging, because I don't know how it's going to be. It's a huge ocean. You have no clue
Yeah.
what you're diving into. So you literally have to like understand it through and throughout. So mostly before the shoot, I'm constantly learning about how we are going through for that particular project or something. Yeah, because like I don't have much of experience also, and I can't actually like literally what I can do is like learn from someone else, but apply it in my own way, like how I would want to keep it to, or like how I would see it.
Yeah, so we have one of the questions in the comment section, like from where do you get your inspiration from?
Man, my inspiration. See, it's a very dreamy question. I always feel, like in real life, like I personally, when I'm on the job or when I'm shooting, for me, if someone says, "Oh, who are you getting inspired from? What are you inspired from? What this shot? Who are you? Like, are you thinking about Roger Deakins now? Are you thinking about that?" Like I genuinely like, if that's the question that you're asking about, then I personally, when I'm shooting, it's mostly like me, how I'm seeing the actors, how they are performing, how subject is, if it's photography, and all that, and the light, how it's coming and stuff. But when it comes to like when I want to get into or do something, and then you need some kind of a motivation or inspiration to do things. But I personally feel for even that, I have this self craving for just touching my cameras, doing things. So I can't sit idle. That's like I said in the beginning. Like I don't feel like just being idle and not doing anything. Even if I'm like doing nothing, I keep shooting things like bird watching or doing something. So yeah,
Yeah,
so I think
I saw
yeah.
your video, the bird watching. Like the only thing I was wondering was how early did you have to get up for catching those sunsets and sunrises?
So yeah, so
Yes,
my whole sleeping cycle was. Can you hear me, Himansh?
yeah, you're audible.
Yeah, so I like my sleeping cycle for a week or like 10 days got messed up, in the sense that I had to like stay up till 7:30 a.m. till I got the sunrise shots, and I had to like wake up again, before sunsets, and I had to set the tripod or like do hand. So I had to plan for like what all shots will I take and stuff. So literally for like 7 to 10 days, it's just about the sleeping. Like I had to shift my day. But otherwise, yeah, it's great, man. Like I loved the whole process, in the sense that my writer, my like she's like my backbone, Ritika Pal. She actually wrote amazing lines for it, and also she she's quite helpful at the same time. Like I'm very glad like I don't like stay idle, like when I have nothing to do. And so many people around me actually complain about it as well. Like, why don't you just stay and just like chill for a bit? I just generally feel, like I can chill after like say 60, 65 years. Till then I can keep doing what I'm doing.
So as you mentioned that you did karate, so one of the followers wants to know like which belt in karate were you?
In 13 days, I went to brown belt, third stage or whatever. So it's like literally, I didn't have any kind of passion or anything for karate. I had to like just do it. I had a huge breakup of like 4 years. So after that, I had to apply my, I had to separate myself from the thoughts and everything. So I had to do something physically. And that's the only reason why I got into it. And that's all it is.
So now I have a rapid fire for you. So I would be
Okay.
saying a word
So
and you have,
one second. I think let's hold for a couple of seconds so that like my
yeah,
internet
sure.
gets a little better.
Till then you can go through the comment section to say hi to a few people.
Yeah, man, I'm really sorry. Like, so many people are saying hi and saying things. I'm like good things. I'm not able to respond to them. I'm just saying one thing. I'll answer all your questions. Just like try and leave it. Probably Himanshi will ask me. But other than that, if you want to ask me more questions, leave direct message on my Instagram. I'll reply to all of you if I miss anything here. So yeah. So now you can go
So
with the
one,
rapid fire. Only
yeah.
one
So
thing
for
is. For you, my picture and audio is fine, right? Is it
yeah,
fine for you?
everything is fine for me.
Okay, so I can hardly see you. You know, like you keep coming and going, so it's kind of that. So.
Uh, for me, it's perfectly fine. The audio and the visual as well.
Okay. Yeah. Okay,
Cool.
that's great. Okay.
One of the followers had the question: how you learn lighting, and how do you learn to operate the big cinema cameras?
So that's a very good question because that was my only fear. Like for everyone who is self-taught, right? This is the only fear because everyone who comes on the set, like literally, are going to judge the hell out of you because you don't know how to operate cinema cameras. You don't know how to operate big cinema lights. So when I went into my first project where I had to deal with like gaffers or when I had to deal with like these lightmen who always work with like people who already knew something or the other. So one thing is for clear, it all comes down to again your taste and your aesthetical sense, and also a little bit of learning about it. Like go like before going there, I used to like watch hundreds of YouTube videos. I used to watch what all these lights do and everything. So I used to like learn before the job and then go in the job like don't act like you know everything. Try and be like a novice. Act like show the world that that's the first time for you. You don't have to act like, oh, you know everything about the cinema body. Because when I first held my cinema camera, like everyone in the set, right from the producer to the my producers are not that judgmental because Dheer and Darya, they're really good friends and they're very helpful and they were very supportive. And that's something that you always need, a team who actually understands and how they see you grow and how you grow. So it literally comes down to like what kind of people you're working with, and it like in a matter of 2 days, man. I think in Kia and Cosmos, like after a couple of days, like I knew exactly what light was doing, what everything was doing. Only thing was I didn't know the name of the papers, I didn't know the number of the papers, I didn't know the name of the light, I didn't know the name of, so I had to spend some time like understanding those things, but that takes like literally 2 to 3 days. Apart from that, just generally I used to shoot a lot with nature light. So my first film that I shot was completely shot on nature light, Namdev Bhau, which is going to come on streaming online like some place or the other very soon. But otherwise from there to switch, you know, it wasn't that bad, but at the same time it's a learning curve that you have to go. But what remained, even though if nowadays, because I'm using a lot of artificial light or cinema lights, there's one thing that remained the same is like even if you see cold mess or like sage or something, even though I'm using lights and everything, I try and keep it as like natural as possible. It looks like I'm taking from the window light. It looks like it's coming from the sunlight or something. So I try and recreate that because for me, the love of just shooting in nature light gave me the motivation of doing whatever I was doing. And also like I was doing pictures for Manto, posters and all for Manto. So when I was doing it, I was with Karthik Vijay, who's a great DOP. I was in the job learning the thing while he was doing all these things. I was learning from him, so that also helped me a lot because those 50 days, like just to see Nawazuddin perform, Nandita like direct, and Karthik Vijay, you know, doing lighting and everything helped me a lot. You know, it was like before and after for me also. And also that's why so many people asked me when I finished shooting Namdev Bhav, they were asking why would you go and shoot like pictures now, or why would you shoot something like that? It's a smaller job. So I said there's no smaller job. Today I have a book in my name with Nandita Das. She had written it. My pictures were used from Manto. So I don't see it as a small job. And also I never went to a film school. So for me, the whole 45 days, 50 days, whatever it was a kind of a film school. And like just to be with Karthik Vijay and learn things was, I feel I'm very like blessed
Like,
about it.
I feel it's the homework part and it's also the journey. So on the journey, you get to learn a lot from whoever
Yeah.
you meet. So that's a very good part about it. So let's start the rapid fire. So I
Okay.
have few words for you. So whatever comes first to your mind, you can talk about that.
Yeah, I will try and keep it to one or two words, but I have this very bad habit of not taking rapid fire so well. And I saw Daria doing it so well the other day. She's so she's so good in whatever she does, man. So and she's very learned and stuff. So I don't know if I'll be able to crack it like that, but I'll try. Let's go.
Sure. So the first word is fashion.
Glamour,
Okay. Delhi.
life lessons.
Jugaad.
Oh, life for life.
Okay. Manto.
Film school.
Okay. Camera.
Right now I'm a Fujifilm X-T3. Brand
Kia.
Ritika Pal.
Moody.
Sorry,
Moody.
dark green.
Okay. So my next, we end up with the rapid fire here, and I guess you get amazingly well. They were very short and rapid answers. So my next question is from my last word itself, moody. So like while going through your photographs, a lot of your travel videos or like covers for the songs you did for your own self, like I felt they were very moody and they had a certain pattern going on. And like while reading a lot of your interviews also, people say like your work is very moody throughout. It has a certain emotions that flows, certain scheme, color grading that flows. So what are your views about that? And like, is that your
So my
style or
handle.
you developed it over a
So
year?
absolutely, absolutely. So absolutely. Now that like every person who has interviewed me told me this, it's a great time for me to self uh like I need to assess my own work and stuff. I need to like see what's happening. But at the same time, definitely this is not something that I'm actually. It's not a technique or a. It's not a legit. What do you call it? It's not a gimmick or it's not like that kind of a thing that I'm doing. It's something that's internally coming and it's something that I'm doing it or shooting it because I don't think I'm lighting up dark. I don't think I'm doing any special thing while I'm doing color grading. I'm not doing anything. So it's literally the kind of colors I choose. It's literally the things I'm shooting. It's literally, but one thing is definitely like I've been assessing my work and what I've been seeing is also like I focus more on geometry and I keep things simple more than
Yeah.
making it more complicated. So that's something that I do. But moody in the sense that, like, say for example, uh, I don't know if it's moody is the right word. Probably this kind of a film kind of look. So that's something that I've been loving from childhood, right? Like I used to like those particular film roles or like particular film negatives and stuff. So probably that is something that can be seen. But at the same time, if you see each particular work of mine, like say for example, Cold Mess to Sage to say different videos. See, everything has its own world, right? Like even though there is my touch to it, there is like say Namdeva, you see bright blue skies, like really so that kind of vibe. In Kia and Cosmos again, whatever needs like Kia and Cosmos contrasty, like more texture, that kind of thing. And if you go to again like Cold Mess, it's more Bombay, like more at the same. Even though we were shooting on film, so it was a little bit Sage. If you see like more yellows, there are brighter colors. Even though they're doing night thing, I light up the actors a little bit more. So like everything has its own way of saying the story, but at the same time, probably my touch is coming as well. So I think
Well,
I
like while
think
going
that's
through
it.
your work, I feel like you like it to be very simple and minimalistic. Like even going through your personal travel photographs, there were just like maybe a small window or a single human with a bright blue
I love
sky.
it. I was actually editing my France pictures. Like I have like 300, 400 pictures of Saint Tropez. I don't share much on social media, so I have a lot of pictures. I was just editing, and man, all of them they have this beautiful minimalistic, like clean look. I really love it, and also it doesn't have to be a frame which has only few things. Even though you have like hundreds of things, like even though they say like mountains, there's that, or if I'm seeing a wall which has like a lot of patches but texture with everything, yet like there is a way I see some things, like they just look quite geometric and simple and by its nature. I think it's something that my texture,
Yeah. So, my next question is, in one of your articles, I read that
Hmm.
counting narratives and feature films are your favorite. So, why is it so? Is there something special about them?
See, for me, feature films, especially why like narrative is because that's where I'm invested from. Say I have to invest like 10 days or 20 days before the shoot, 30 to 3 to 7, 8 to 1 year after the shoot, and during the shoot, 60 days. But in the whole journey, I am not losing the story. In the whole journey, I am with my image. So I have a lot of time to invest in it. One, because it's not like music video where you have like 2 days of pre-production, 1 day of recce, and then you go shoot like 3 days, 2 days, or whatever works, and then 1 day of color grading. So then it's like the process is very small. At the same time, the application of your knowledge, application of what you've learned is like quite small. So it's literally only pertaining to like a circle that we are given. So in that we need to work on. But when it's a feature film, right, I can take from point A to point B, applying myself, and I can think of like say from here how we are going, and from here how we are going. So like from pages to pages we can go, and that's something you have in feature films. And at the same time, I love shooting feature films with, especially with Jugaad Motion Pictures. We have so much fun. In Leh, we had like 45 days of shoot, and then every single day was like a festival for us. So we wake up like 5 o'clock in the morning, and then we leave to the location. And in the van or in the bus that we used to go, we used to play music, we used to have fun. The whole team is like it's just like all 70 to 80 people, or like for Namdeva it was very smaller crowd, so we all come down to like doing one thing, and everybody's like so connected with it. So for me, just the process is quite interesting and quite amazing. And apart from that, like even when we do like these documentaries where we have like 7 days or 8 days of the shoot, even there we get to like shoot, we travel, and we do a lot of good things. So I think that's the reason why I kind of.
So, you already brought a play. So, in one of the articles I read, like Dar wanted to shoot it in Spiti at first, but it shifted to Ladakh due to some circumstances.
Yes.
But she was very upset in like in the starting, because like a lot of films have been shot in Ladakh and people have a certain perspective about Ladakh. But at the end, she said like she had a completely different point of view, and it was just because of you, because you showcased Ladakh something differently. Like, could you tell us something more about it?
So like when we were first like when they were doing pre-production, I am really sorry. I was like so out of the pre-production in Namdebao. They only Dheer and Darya were like completely fighting with the producers. They were literally pitching the ideas. They were like thinking about the palettes and everything all by themselves. I was not with them because I was shooting a campaign and we had no budgets and everything. So we had this deal of like me having to do something before I go on to the shoot. So I was finishing my campaign and I was in Ladakh. I was shooting a fashion campaign there. And while I was doing it, I saw Ladakh and we got pictures from Spiti. And what I found was, because it's a travel film where we had to go through like mountains and then rivers, and then we had to go through like deserts and all that, where like two people are traveling. I thought Ladakh had this face, like every 30 minutes or like 20 minutes you pass in Ladakh, there is new face, like you go like say like 1 kilometer away, you see these black huge rocks like they are from Mars, and then you go further away like 20 minutes away, you see these like meadows, green meadows. You don't like where is this coming from? There are rivers, and then you go further, like right ahead, there is Sundar sands with like white sands completely, and like pebbles. So there was like geographically, I think it was much more feasible for us because also we had like less budget and all, and at the same time, our producer at that time, she wanted network because she was a businesswoman or whatever. So at that moment, she couldn't go to Spiti, and then I became a easier cushion for her to make the whole team shift to Ladakh from Spiti. And when Daria first came, she was like, I knew it, this is bad, I don't want to do it, I don't want to, you guys do it and all that. And then after first day of our rushes, I do the first day of the shoot, and then I still remember the first frame of the film, and she comes and she's like, okay. And then end of the day, we go and we watch the rushes, and like everybody in the crew knew that it was something special and it was something new that we were doing.
But I guess that's the beauty of Leh Ladakh, like so different terrains and geographical regions in one place. I guess you can't find it anywhere. Desert,
and
water,
also
mountains.
like the problem is what we have been always fed, like especially in Bollywood and all this, is like we are only fed 3 days or something. So people have this very like wrong opinion about like Ladakh, because people think, oh, that's all Ladakh is, but there's so much more beyond just that. And also the rural areas or the areas where it was like quite remote, man, the kind of stuff we got was insane.
Honestly, even I have traveled to few of the villages in Ladakh and they're speechless. They're like something out of the world.
That's even true. Like now, there are like 3-4 places like which are like just you can't like believe. Oh, okay.
So, yeah, wow. Even the people are so helpful and like they are so, and the kids are so cute and adorable. Like they're something out of the world. So before we move into like discussing more about your work, like I want to know basically as a viewer, we always see the end product, the movie or the music video, but nobody knows what goes behind it. There is a lot of more work that you put in like in pre-production before moving to cameras itself. So like could you give a little bit idea to the followers? What is it about? How much time does it take in your pre-production? Do you go through the script, meet the characters? What is it about?
Yeah, definitely. See, if you have to take a call, like there are two kinds of, I always tell people this, you want to be a cameraman or do you want to be a cinematographer or a DOP? You need to take a call beforehand before going there, because there are also camera operators or cameramen who actually come, okay, on the day of the shoot and do stuff. But do you want to be that, or do you want to be part of the whole thing? So that is also your call end of the day. I love to be part of from beginning to the end, and I am very personal about the projects I work in, and I invest so much because everything is something that I am trying to say, like it's a story coming from me as well, apart from the director and the producer, writers. So I also like I have the responsibility as much as well. So yeah, definitely onto the set, because before like say for example we shot Namdeba, or before we shot like we did not have that leverage where we can go to the set thinking, oh, we have this much of like we go with like a lot of pre-production and stuff, because literally in Namdeba we had to like go to the set, find the location where we can shoot, we need to like rehearse with the actors, and just then and there we used to do. But like now we have the leverage and now we have the budgets to spending onto the shoot, spend with the actors, see their looks, talk to the art directors, talk to the I can like literally like build my own house, if I have to, or my home if I have to. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. I like, and so a lot of people. What are your cameras currently using?
See, your voice got broken. Someone saying hi, Macha. Please, can you repeat your question, please?
Yeah, a lot of followers want to know like which cameras are you using currently?
Also, I have 5 cameras. Like my first film I shot on was Panasonic GH4. Kia and Cosmos I shot with Panasonic GH5 and XT2. Uh, and now this is my daily driver. It's like it's a Fujifilm X-T3, and I'm with Fujifilm right now. So mostly this is something that I use for my video. And sometimes when I'm doing cinema, like when people want raw video, so I shoot with my Canon C200. But apart from that, like apart from people asking me for raw footage, I mostly shoot with X-T3, or like some people come up with their own like requirements. Say some people want to shoot in RE, or some people want to shoot in red. So there you have not much to say. So yeah, so that's that. But at the same time, I personally love to go mobile and small when I'm actually doing stuff. But it's a photo camera that I shoot video with. A lot of people just don't think that way. Like think it has an image that is equivalent to a cinema camera. But now the cameras that are coming up are actually changing the direction of how DOPs are working in the world. In the sense that S1H is one camera, which is the small camera, really small camera, which is now approved by Netflix and other people, which shoots 6K and stuff. So like all these small, it all depends on like what you like and stuff. And then before I was shooting photography and my camera had video, I got used to the whole ergonomics of it. So I went into this, but now I'm like, I have to shoot with cinema cameras. There's no other go, because like it depends on the size of the project also. So there you can't actually. Yeah. Someone
Okay,
has asked
so
a question. They're asking like, try to answer my question.
I'm almost asking with questions whichever are coming. So one of the question is, how does one apply to Jugaad motion pictures or work for a specific product?
See, honestly, applying to Jugaad Motion is you have to contact them, and also you have to contact Pranit or Pranav or Supreet from the team, or you can write to like Jugaad, info@jugaadmotionpictures.com. And if they are actually hiring, then you can do it. I would only say right now, probably because of the whole situation and how it's all going, I don't know if we are really hiring as such. But if they do, they'll definitely let you know, and they'll put it. And we keep putting these things online. If you keep checking our stories on our page, you can definitely see.
Yeah. So I guess it's one of your friends. He wants to know, tell me your better and fun situation from KV School Tirupati.
What did he say?
Tell me your better and fun situation from KV School.
What's his name? Who asked this?
I've lost it in the comments above.
Okay, fine. So literally always every day was fun, man. In KV, literally I still remember if when I had to leave the school, it was like the worst moment of one of the worst moments of my life, because I was like a king in the school, like I was like, this is my empire. I am the emperor here. So I had no fears, nothing. I was like a champ. And while I was leaving the whole organization, it just couldn't, it didn't sink into me. And it was quite like heavy and emotional kind of moments then. But obviously it's a part and parcel of everybody's life, how school days, and then you have to leave everything, because I knew like there I was a hero. I don't know how I'll do outside and how it'll all be, because it's a completely new territory altogether and all that. But my favorite or fun situation is always like when playing cricket with my friends, or like after school, like sit and just talk to people. Yeah, my mom is also here. So cool, man. So it's great. So whoever it is, say hi to him.
It's Sandeep.
Oh, Sandeep. Okay, say hi.
Yeah. So let's move on to the next question. So as you already mentioned, I also read it in an article that people thought that it might be a downgrade for you to work as a still photographer from a cinematographer for Manto. But I'm glad you took up that project, because like each photograph speaks for itself. So how was the journey doing the still photography? What were the challenges you faced?
Honestly, challenges was one thing, because I was literally only the guy. I was only the guy who was doing stills, and at the same time I was doing BTS video, and I was creating my own world. For me, the film I was shooting was making of Manto. They were making Manto, but I was making of Manto. So for me, I took it as a project where I'm shooting making of Manto. So I didn't care much, and I had like two big cameras, which I had like one video and one photo, and then I had a monopod. So I did not like, the only thing was it was a smaller crew comparatively when you see Bollywood films and stuff. So I had like very few assistants and stuff. So I had to like manage and do things on my own. That's the only thing I think was. Oh, also we went to this place. It's called Mini Kutch, or like Chota Kutch or something in Gujarat, where we were shooting this climax scenes, where it was about 50 degrees, and I had this like really bad migraine and stuff. So Nandita asked me to go and just rest, and then after the half day, like I see the sun, it's quite bright and stuff, and then I go, and then like after the half day I went on and just started shooting, and those days pictures were really amazing and they came out really well. So yeah, man, I think it's like every day in life, just generally it had its own ups and downs. But the best thing about the whole thing was I didn't say no to it. I didn't like listen to some people, and my friends, like my closer ones, always said you should do it. You think you should do it. So, and I'm very glad I took it, and it helped me a lot in every way possible. Yeah.
But somewhere I also read like you're not allowed to shoot while the shot is being taken. So how
And
did
that's
you
something.
manage?
So that's something like if I only had my Fujifilm X-T3 where we had silent shutter then, or like electronic shutter, which like then I was shooting with a mechanical mirror, right? So the mirror used to make sound. So when the audio is rolling, you can't. So so you have to literally wait for the actor to give a shot. Sometimes you need to go tell the actor like, maybe I'm taking some more stills, so can you give me the. You can never give a video performance to a photo performance. It's never like that. So what used to happen is like sometimes right after the shot, I used to like just keep going, because I know like that's when the actor is actually in the zone and you have to get some shots. But all the actors who worked in there, all the people who were there as ADs and like the DAs and everyone helped me a lot. Firstly, I need to like I'm thankful to each one of them, man. What can I say? They were really kind and helpful, and things were flowing.
So I have a few shots of yours from Manto itself. Like I'll be showing you on my computer screen. Could you just tell us a bit about backstory or something about it?
Okay, I'm very bad with this. My memory is so bad. Let's see.
Yes. So here's the first one.
Oh wow! So this is something I shot with my small, like there is this small LX100 camera that I had. It was a really small one. So I shot. This was in a setup where Manto comes and he's meeting a press, and he actually kept his glasses. Nawaz himself, he kept the glasses somewhere, and then I saw the frame. I said, I'll just take the shot with like a little macro and stuff. And Nandita also like sees me doing these things, and then sometimes like obviously they're all in their own world. I'm making my own world. So sometimes they come and ask, "What is this guy doing? What is this guy?" Like some people used to like constantly judge me whatever this guy's doing and stuff. But they turned out really well, and they got like in the Khan brochure and in Khan's like whatever we were trying to do, like with the banners and stuff, they helped a lot. And Nandita used it really well. So I think, yeah.
Yeah. So my second picture is this.
Your video is stuck, yeah. 1 second.
Is it fine now?
No, it's not actually. 1 second. Okay, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, man, it comes down to details. Sometimes I like that's Tahir Basin, a really cool man. So he was playing a really important role in the film, his friend. So I had to like it was part and parcel of the thing. And Rita was doing like the art, and she got these props and everything. And I'm very fascinated with these small details, man. If you see my pictures, also like there are like few things that interest me a lot. So I think that was part of the whole.
Like I feel like how you showed the importance of these 555 cigarettes in the 1940s. It's like it's very, yeah. The
So it
significance
has
was
a value in the film as well. If you have watched the film, it has got this certain value to it. I don't want to say it. It's from the part of the film, so it has this
Yeah.
value for the Google Fi cigarette. So yeah.
Okay. So my third picture for you, it's this.
Okay, so
Is
you're
it
stuck
visible?
again.
Okay, so it's the railway station picture which you took from that ticket counter's viewpoint.
Okay. So yeah. So basically, I had to like go quickly while they were like they took the shot from the outside of the video. Oh, actually, there was one shot from inside as well, and I had to quickly
Yeah.
go and run, and I had to ask Nawaz to pose, and then we made them pose, and like that was in Bombay actually. We got like some 6 hours or 7 hours in the railway station to shoot and stuff, and then we created this whole thing, the frame that the art people created really quick, and then that's a frame, and we had set from inside. Yeah, it's like again, like I had to ask these people to like do it as a pose because their shot was done, and I had to quickly run, and then I had to like come all the way inside and just like take the shot quickly, and yeah, I got like 3 shots, and in that like one of the shots.
So while reading for Manto only, a lot of people said that you were detached from the real film and you had a world
Yeah.
of your own, the world of Manto, which Nandita also mentioned
I
in her
think
article.
yeah, and also because I'm very glad you read the article, because this is what from beginning I told myself that I want to be away from, because I know like when it's a set, right, there are like its own emotions, its own story. There is so much happening itself, like while they're making the film. Especially there were times where like the set used to have like really like it used to go down south for the set, but I still am like zenning through it. I'm just like doing my own job. I'm like not being part of it. And this is something that I knew from the beginning. If I actually become that, I won't be able to do this job. I won't be able to satisfy what I am doing correct. So I think that's where I really like personally actually took a step to actually do that. So this is where I was really happy I did that and I took that decision to. Yeah.
So how does a normal day at set looks like for you?
Normal?
A normal day at set, like while shooting, how does it looks like for you? Is it like work whole day, or like how is it?
No. So honestly, for me, like work is definitely, see, I won't say work is like play, but for me, like every photographer or every cinematographer, most of the people I know, I personally feel like when I'm like getting into the set, I'm all nervous. I am like, it's like I'm going to lose my plot. I'm going like it's quite nervous for me. Like every live video or every interaction that I go through with other people. So it is always like this, and it is for me and my like some of the people from the team as well. I always am nervous in the before going into the set and doing something. But I know for a fact after our ritual and like Daria and we do a little bit ritual before we go into the shoot.
Yeah, I saw
Uh,
that.
yeah, so after the ritual, like first shot also, I'm a little nervous. I'm setting up, I'm asking the lights to do this, do the test shots. And then as soon as I see the test shot, I see the actor in the shot, and then I feel like, oh, it's nice. And I do like final setup or whatever. And then once I get it, I'm a little calm. And then in like 2, 3 shots, like I just like after that it's just fire after like, and also Daria is also like giving me so much fire from this side. Dheer is also always ever confident. He's never worried about anything, and he's always sure about me and Daria, and that puts extra pressure on both of us. But like after like 5, 6 shots, we know for a fact like we're gonna kill the whole thing.
Yeah, I
And
seen in the videos.
it's like anybody. Yeah.
Yeah, I seen in the BTS video how Daria is very super excited and full of energy at work. Yeah,
Yeah, man. I
so
think see
that
after a point, right? Like we like see in the beginning we are only worried about, oh, how will it turn out? How will it turn out? What will happen? How will I do? What like it all becomes like me, or like how will I do? Like what it all becomes that, and then the moment when it becomes about the product or what we are doing, and it just becomes like all of you are like nothing, we're just like focusing on the thing that we're doing. So I think that helps a lot. The moment we get out of us and just like focus on what we're doing, it just becomes easy. And my thing is, I want to avoid that also because it's quite stressful. And so many times I get so wired, I stop eating or like drinking water and all this. But my people are always constantly forcing me to eat, drink, and all that while I'm focusing or doing something. But apart from that, when I'm shooting my travel videos or when I'm shooting something for myself, I don't have this, like, so this is what I need to like incorporate into the work that I do otherwise. So I need to like figure out that. Especially, I still remember in Namibia, we were shoot like after the shoot was done, a day in the morning in Swakopmund, I was waking up and I was traveling and I was going. I did not like I was like flying like a bird. I was just like shooting whatever I want to. I did not have any pressure. It's something that I want to do. And it's so nice. It was breezy. Like that's what, right? Like when you have like less pressure about all these things, you zen through it, but you definitely have that like a little bit of butterflies in the tummy moments in the beginning of the project, but otherwise it just gets better by day in day out. But with films again, like for 45 days every day, it starts a little bit like jittery, but then once it goes on, it gets better.
Nice. Can you give me a second? Like, actually, my dog is barking a lot. I'll just, yeah, 1 second.
Okay, I'll quickly answer the questions that we have here. Hi guys, I'm so sorry I'm not able to answer all the questions here, but Himanshi is asking all the questions for you, for me. Let me quickly say, hi guys, hi. Okay, you're back?
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, it's okay. You can just scroll down the comments.
No, literally there's only one question. How did you start cinematography? Uh, Sam is writing. Sam, hi man, thanks. Thank you. Thank you, Sam. Someone asked how did I get into cinematography? I answered that question like 100 times. We'll do it again. I'm a self-taught cinematographer. Please learn a little bit about it. You asked the question, you. Let's go.
Yeah. So, any piece of yours is like a teamwork. Be it the lightman or the artist or the directors. So, is it there like that? Do you have clash of ideas or things? So, how do you come over them? What you do?
See, honestly, every single thing that we are shooting is clash of ideas. It's nothing like, oh, it's like a smooth game. Daria and I, we fight like crazy because most of the times, Dar, me, we each of us are like tripping on one person or the other. So when I am fighting with Dheer, I and Daria, we become one team. When I'm fighting with Dar, I and Dheer, we become one team. Or when they both become a team, I'm like quiet and all that. So it's like we have like, see, this is where Dheer comes. Like Dheer is like the most important person in the whole team because he's the creative director as well. He's not only a producer, he does like most of the things as well with me in terms of like he comes up with a lot of visual treatment or like motion or like how we need to do like what kind of motion works for like that because he's very knowledgeable and he understands these things really well. So this is where, like all three of us, we have to come down to, oh, I'm sacrificing 70% of mine. You have to sacrifice 30% of yours. So it comes down to that. And that's how we can collaborate, man. We can't just get like 100% of everything that you want to have in a project, especially when you're collaborating. And this is a collaborating business. You need to literally give up at least 30% of what you had in your mind. And having said that, that's why I ask people or I recommend people to shoot something for themselves because that's where they'll actually understand when they're shooting for themselves. They cannot they don't have to please anyone, they don't have to do it for anybody, and they'll be in their own zone shooting only for themselves. If it is bad, shitty, doesn't matter, you can just keep doing what you are doing and whatever works for you, that's the best product for yourself. And yeah, man, and I think that's how I also learned a lot of things because I shoot a lot for myself. I don't like, I'm never idle. Even when I'm shooting for something, I take a morning out walk or like morning walk out or like in the late in the evening, I go for a walk in the city and shoot things for myself and just like observe things.
So, like, I saw one of your video covers for Abhi Na Jao Chhod Ke on the Ela train journey. Yeah, so like Ela train journey as a traveler, I know I've seen mostly from a traveler's viewpoint. Like honestly, when I traveled myself through it, I felt it is just so hyped by the travelers and it's nothing as such. But after seeing your video, it was completely a different aspect to the travel journey. I know it's scenically beautiful and everything, but when I took it, it wasn't that pleasing, but your video made it a lot more better for me. Like, so how did
Okay.
you
See,
jump in?
honestly, see, honestly, I did not expect Sri Lanka to be so beautiful because when we were planning for Bate Karo, that was the first time. And also, before I remember Daria telling me that Sri Lanka is like her favorite country in the world, and she had traveled almost all parts of the world, and she told me Sri Lanka is one of her favorite countries in the world and so beautiful and stuff. And I did not believe till the moment I went to Sri Lanka because the first beach view I got was that one of the shots of Bate Karo where they both are taking selfies and stuff in the beach. The gray, the particular gray that sky was forming, it did not have a tint of blue. You know, where we have these grays in India, where we have a little bit of tint, or like any part of the world, we have a little bit of blue. But in Sri Lanka, when it's gray, it's gray. You know, it's not tint shifted or that side this side or that side. So that was like for me, wow, what a beautiful, like it was great, you know, just the light and everything, light quality and stuff. But after I got into the Ela train thing, I was like, it wasn't like you said, it wasn't something that I had seen in a travel thing or anything because I don't watch so many travel videos or anything as such. So I literally like got into it. I was like, I had this pleasant feeling and I had this. So I thought I'll shoot like a little slow motion so that what I'm actually feeling it's more like just like smooth movement with the train also because the train did not have this, it had like this dancing kind of a thing. So that's what I was trying to get. And also the song of Shorin actually helped me a lot because when I heard the song it's like, oh, I got the song for the visuals, and it's like it was just flowing with it, so.
Yeah, it was beautiful. So my next question for you is like your film, Kia and Cosmos, and even Namdev Bhau made it to many of the film festivals across the world, be it Cannes, Madrid, or Milan. So how does it make you feel like because of you, Namdev Bhau could travel to across so many countries? Like at the end, your work,
Definitely not because of me. Obviously, the director
yeah,
and
because of
the
the
like all these things.
team effort, he had a different experience. So like what was your feeling when the pictures were screened, and like how
So
did it make you feel?
honestly, for me, the biggest moment, like Daria also mentioned this in the last interview of her. I think to just see Namdev Babu like going to London and just like asking idli nahi milta hai kya yahan par, and all these things, and like just listening to those stories. And he went to Germany and then he's like chai bhai acha nahi hai yahan par and all that. So it's just quite a great experience in the sense that for a man who is above 60, who cannot even think of all these things or who doesn't have this liberty of just like even dreaming about any of these things, and he's going through these things, and like just to see that journey alone is like for me the magic of cinema and the magic of like art and collaborating or doing things together. And I hope Dar, Dheer and all of us, we remain like this and not fall into the trap of like only to cast certain kind of people, but also like people who deserve and to be there. And that's something that we are always there. Like if you see for Liggy also, we had like various choices to go with
Yeah,
like actresses and all that, because at that point we like everybody wanted to, and also we couldn't get like some dates like unfortunately with like some good actresses. But then as soon as Daria saw Vedika, she said, no, Vedika is great and we will maintain this. And then now Vedika has got like a great following after the thing and stuff. And also she's great, man. She's great at what she does, and the amount of effort she had put in. I still remember before Liggy, like for 2 days, 3 days, she used to come do practice. She used to do these crazy things. Yeah, we used to make her go do that, like couple of art forms, like she had to practice and stuff. So it's kind of it's kind of a great journey, man, to see these people just like going from point A to point B.
so like
Inju, Intuja, I really love Sri Lanka too. It's amazing.
so somebody wants to know how is it different to shoot music videos and like films? Is there a lot of difference, or is it the process is same, it's just the amount of work is less?
See, amount of work is definitely not less in the sense that we no matter if it's a music video or a film, the number of days reduced, the amount of work remains the same for that particular number of days, or actually it's even more because you limit like so many shots to 2 days, and it's also very like tiring and like very like intense process. But how it is different from others, is that your question, like how it is different from the feature film?
Yeah.
So like see, so I think with music videos again, it's so difficult to knock the ball out of the park. It's not like a film, because in film you have an audience or you have someone investing their time for like good 2 hours for us to take them from point A to point B. But for like something like a music video where you have only 3 minutes, 4 minutes, literally like maximum 5 to 6 minutes, it's literally so difficult for someone to to get someone's attention, catch them and hold them and take them to point B. And I think that's where, like writers like Daria and all these people, like they are like real like geniuses, where they capture audience and they understand like the human emotion is the most important thing. And also to narrate a story in that smaller amount of time, to condense the whole narrative to like 3 minutes or 4 minutes. It's great, man. It's great. And that's where like our editors, are like everybody come into play.
So like from music videos, so I read that while shooting Cold Mess, you shot the entire thing with a 16 film. So
correct, yeah.
Yeah. So how was it? Like I think for shooting for a 16 film, you must have been very close to the subject. So it was all done with gimbals, or you hand handled the cameras? How was it?
What gimbals are you talking about? There is no gimbal which can actually, obviously there must be some kind of equipment where you can put for belt, or like some kind of a rig must be there. There are no gimbals for like, it's like out of question. Most of it is handheld because the narrative itself was like handheld, and 3 people or 2 people used to carry and give it to me, and I have to hold it for like good 2 minutes, 3 minutes, or 4 minutes, how long so ever, because we also did not want to go long because we did not have huge budgets, so we couldn't afford so much of reel. So we had to limit ourselves to just to getting the shot and giving it back. But at the same time, with Daria, before we roll, I used to see and stay my neck, like my back, neck, everything used to go for a toss. But at the same time, it was once in a lifetime experience. I can't explain how great it was as an experience. And the camera that we had was like it's called A7S-R Mark III or whatever. It's RE camera. Super 16. It was amazing. It had fungus on the corners and everything. But at the same time, it created this beautiful image we wanted.
Nice. So we have still a lot more questions, but I'll try to wrap up in next 10 minutes as soon as possible. Yeah.
Yes.
So by far we've seen that you've worked in different languages. Like Namdev Bha was a Marathi film, Kia was a Bengali film. But while working with Jio Ad Film Campaign, also you covered different stories. Like it was from a DJ point of view, from a fisherman, then a shikara man in Jammu. So how has it been your experience and learning curve while shooting all of this? Like different cultures, different languages?
Man, honestly, this is what I'm living for, like for me to just like capture like different cultures and to experience them and see them and get their texture into whatever we are making. I think that's why like most of the filmmakers are living here for, where like apart from people who take it as a business, we see it like this is the only reason why we live for, like where we like meet, like clash different things and do things the way we want to. So I think it's one of the best things happened to me in the sense that one to even have a team who are into doing things and who are also in your own mindset where they also love meeting new people, going and doing things like this, and also just writing like the whole DJ, all this came from Darya's ideas, right? Or like Hari, who is from Geo, who's also part of Jugaad Motion Picture. There, when they first came up with the idea and the concept, they came up with these, and so I'm thankful to them, you know, in the sense that, and also now I get to meet a lot of more people. I shot one more documentary in Namibia, so I got to meet more people there. It's just amazing, man. For me, like traveling is one of the best things where I can like literally like it's for me it's like I don't read much, and I have to confess. For me, traveling is like reading. So
Nice. So like a lot of people, so you're into editing as well. So many people are interested in knowing like what softwares you use for editing films or the travel videos for
no,
your YouTube.
no. I even edited Cold Mess in Premiere Pro. I edited Hold Tight also in Premiere Pro, but I color grade in DaVinci Resolve. But right now, Premiere Pro just announced a new update, which has made the rendering faster and stuff. So I think I am going to stick for a bit more in Premiere Pro before jumping directly into DaVinci Resolve for editing as well. But yeah, Premiere Pro is my major drive because I came from Photoshop to Premiere Pro, so it was quite natural for me in the transition.
And like for photography and like the mobile apps, anything you use?
So for mobile, see, I don't edit videos on mobile at all because I use my Surface Pro, which has Premiere Pro. But for photos, I use VSCO and Snapseed sometimes because they are the only two apps I need. Rest, I think.
Okay, so last one or two questions. Like while going through your YouTube channel, I feel you had a lot of information in terms of cameras, in terms of educating people about photography and cinematography. So, which are your favorite YouTube channels and like something you watch?
See, I've made a list of YouTube channels that I mentioned there. Very few, I don't recommend people to watch this fast food YouTube channels where they get like really like the channels with like so much transitions. They make you feel like everything is great in life and everything. I don't actually recommend people to like follow those vlogs or stuff like that. Like there are really great YouTube channels. Like right now, I'm very proud to say like Fujifilm X India has a like they're making a really good YouTube channel where they're spreading knowledge. Like for me, I learned a lot from YouTube, right? So for me, I want to keep that space in a way that so many youngsters, so many people who will come for like the generations together, I want them to learn, use it as a platform to learn things. And that's what I also try because now I have a lot of time. I actually do a lot of tutorial videos as well in my own channel as well. But
Yeah.
other than that, I think Philip Bloom, like DSLR Video Guide, there are like 3-4 really good channels which actually like teach you for the basics and stuff. But then post that, I've made a complete 10 list of cinematographer based channels I've made. So people should just definitely check that out.
But
Because
I would
right now
like,
I'm very bad with memory, so I can't really give you exactly the channels.
but I would like to ask people, request them to even go back and follow your channel. It's Aditya Verma without an H. So go follow
Yeah.
him. It's not the film. It's the Aditya Verma without an H.
I think that film has messed my life, honestly, because the like before, at least people used to like search for me, and I used to be there. Now, Aditya Verma, if you search on Google, the only thing that people see is like the film, and people search for Aditya Verma DOP. It is the DOP of that film, so it's like too funny.
Yeah, yeah.
We just
Even for me, while searching, it was the film. I had to go down a lot many pages to search for you.
yeah, I know. Sorry for that.
But
I think it will be very temporary
no,
because after a point, film will get old.
yeah.
So.
So my last question for you, like, what do you think about our platform, The Outgoing Introvert?
I love it. See, I wanted to actually thank Sam because I've been seeing Sam also, like Sam only. And I saw one of the other, man, I'm really bad with names. I forgot the lady's name. I saw that episode also where she was shooting infants, like she does infant photography.
Yeah,
I forgot the name.
Saffron. No, not Saffron. I'm also confusing with somebody else.
Yeah, so I
Maria.
was like, I was
Yeah,
watching.
Maria Pressure.
Yeah, I was watching her video as well, and like all the things that like you guys are doing is so amazing. I can't thank you guys enough, because this, when you have a platform, it's so important to gather people or collect people to do right things. And especially for me, I feel this is such a platform where, especially in the time where we have a lot of time to learn and teach people, uh, like you never know, man, like one thing from one guy, like people pick up like this, and then just like that could be their mantra for life. Because for me also, I have few things that I just like heard from one of the interviews. Like I want to share this also. Like, say there is this actor called Prakash Raj, I don't know if you know. So he, in one interview, random interview, when I was a kid, I saw him saying, he told this, like if someone asked him, if you weren't an actor, what would you do? He said this, he said, if I wasn't an actor, if I was a sweeper, I would be so good in my job, I would be head sweeper. If I was say toilet cleaner, I would be so good, and I'll be head toilet cleaner. So I absolutely like believe in that mantra, and that has become like my like mantra to go to. You know, like when I want to do something, I want to be best at it. I don't want to like do half jobs. So that's something. So all these small things, you know, literally a lot, like it affects a lot and it helps a lot, man. So I wanted to actually thank Sam a lot, and to the whole team at World Photographers Club. Thanks a
So
lot,
like
man, for
the
doing this.
next question was like, what are your views about WPC also?
Sorry, I
Uh,
think I
my
lost you.
next question is, what are your views about World Photographer Club also?
Yeah, so my views is that, like, see, this is what I want to say. Like, I really think you guys are doing a great job. I want you guys to stay like in the same, like in the zone where it is like spreading information. The reason why I'm with like a couple of companies like Fuji and Aperture also is that because it shares knowledge and it shares information to a lot of people. And it's the only way we can reach a lot of people. And you guys are doing it in the like best possible way. And generally, Sam asks people like, "What question you have for me?" I actually had a question for Sam. I don't know if I can ask you, but okay. I
He's
want
on the
to.
live. You can go ahead and ask him.
So I want to just ask Sam also, like, how, like, what will change now, because he travels a lot and stuff. I want to ask him what changes after COVID-19. What will be the travel situation, and how will it affect the whole travel photography thing? That's what I want to ask.
He's there in the comments for you.
Oh, okay. Cool, Sam. So you answered this. I think we're great. Are we good?
Yeah. So I want to thank you for joining us today from the
Thank
whole
you.
team at
Thank
the
you.
World Photographer Club. So Anurag, the founder, Sayam, me, Himanshi, and Ragini. She's from Madrid. Thank you so much. We had a lovely time chatting with you, and hope everything gets well soon. We are back on our life, and stay safe. Hope you have a great
Yeah,
night.
guys.
Sleep.
Have fun,
Bye.
stay safe. And Sam, please,
Yeah.
next time when you start the live video, I'll remember to see the answer. So you please answer then. I'll see you then. See you, brother. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.